too.
But his stuff.
This is all creative.
Yeah.
So you invented the design then. You want to tell me about it a little bit?
All right, so, well, this is based on the front row gazebo. I first designed it in Lego Studio or stud.io, which is free to download. I designed it there first, and then I did some experimenting, and then eventually I was able to order the bricks to build it physically. I think that the trickiest part was the dome shape, because it's not a shape that, the dome isn't just a shape that lends itself to Lego easily, because Lego, the curvature, Lego tends to be blocky, and so the challenge was how do you make curved shapes from Lego? How do you do that? And then I had to do the same kind of stuff for the base of the gazebo, which is 5 steps, 5 steps at the base. Initially, in hindsight, what I could have done is I could have used the same pieces as the roof, and then try to make a round shape for that. But I wanted it to be tiled, so I started doing a variety of stuff where I was like combining different wedged plates together, and designing this in stud.io was a bit tricky because I had to have degrees in mind. Had to count things,
Like
in terms
slope?
in terms of like degrees in order to make a complete circle.
Okay.
So that applied there, and
What's the name of the software again? How do you spell it?
stud.io.
Okay.
But I think people tend to pronounce it Studio. They just pronounce it Studio. I think, and then the tricky part, the real front row gazebo, in the center is a time capsule, and around that is an octagon of brick. I kind of tried to capture that, but it's not exactly perfect. It's kind of more like an approximation of an octagon. For the most part, the bricks in the middle just kind of cover up the gaps that naturally occur when I'm combining stuff. So, but this is a pretty close approximation of it, and I have special bricks here that look like actual bricks, and then I have a few just normal plates to put minifigures on, and then in a few areas I have a place where you can put a minifigure there. The base of the gazebo, the base is actually just connected at one point, like right here, and just at this one point, and it just kind of rests. Because the way things are, it's kind of hard to get it centered perfectly without straight up putting a beam right here, but you don't want to have a beam right there. And so that's that. So the next step is I'm going to try to get a microphone up top that is silver instead of gold. I noticed that up top there's like a silver ball. I got to get something like that. And then the very top, I'm using this gold dome right here. But I think it's not a perfect match. I need to find something that's dark tan and kind of looks more like what's actually on top of the gazebo. And then I noticed that around the gazebo is more red brick, and I plan to put a lot more of these on here to kind of make it a bit more accurate, more like the actual town gazebo. So those are kind of my next plans for it. Any questions?
Yeah, this might be sacrilegious, but as an artist, I'm like, well, why don't you just paint it? So I know it's probably, I knew it when I asked if it would be problematic, that it would be problematic, but do you ever add something that's not Lego?
Controversial question.
Yeah, it's a very controversial.
I'm a reporter today.
Actually,
Stickers are taboo.
Yeah.
Really?
Even Lego stickers are taboo.
sometimes, most of the time, the thing with, I'm going to answer your first question in a moment, but to talk about stickers, like typically typically authors tend to avoid using stickers because normally it would be attached to a brick that could be used in so many different possible creations. So it's like if you have one
Limits
brick,
it.
if you have one brick and you put on a say a fire truck sticker on it, then if you try to use that brick to make something that's not a fire truck, like maybe a spaceship or a deer or an apple or something, it's going to look pretty weird with the whole fire truck sticker on the side of an apple. So that's why we tend to avoid it. That said, I do have some stickered elements in my collection simply because I found that the stickers were just too good not to put on the brick. Such as something like special, super special, like maybe a picture frame with a minifigure's face on it, because I might want to put that up. That's more useful as a picture frame with a minifigure's face on it to put in a house or something. With regards to painting, I did consider ordering some clips, and then painting them sand green in order to connect these to the top octagon. But instead, I found a different solution where I kind of, and let me go ahead and show this. So these are connected like this. Initially, I was thinking about taking one of these and painting it sand green and having it connected like this. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, I have a few extra of these. Let me take one of these. Let me go down. Let me add a brick here, and then let me do this, so that it kind of makes the same connection, and then it's a bit hidden, and it just. That way I don't have to paint anything. So I was able to kind of avoid painting things by kind of working outside the box there. So that's everything I have. And then with regards to these, apparently dark tan of this shape, this dome shape, dark tan doesn't exist for them, for this brick. So theoretically it would be something to consider painting, but I think I would rather continue looking and find and buy a brick of the color that I want that kind of does the same job. I think painting, I've never really painted a brick before. I think it's an absolute last resort if you absolutely can't find a creative solution to a problem.
So the medium is more. The integrity of the medium is more important in general than the ultimate goal for the creator.
In some cases, yes. Lego's kind of funny that way because it's like, it's like the whole point of Lego is that what you have built today, you might want to take apart and build a completely different piece of art tomorrow. And so if you make like changes to your medium now, and it will look good, your art piece looks good the way it is now. Okay, but maybe tomorrow you might need to make a change, or you might need to take it apart and part it all up, and you'd rather not have stuff painted. Now a similar thing can be said about adding glue. I think for some Craggle, for some artists like Nathan Sawyer, who builds those really amazing Lego sculptures. If you've ever heard of him, he's displayed at a museum in Virginia, I think not too long ago. I think for some sculptures it might make sense to glue the pieces together because you don't want it to break, and if you're really dead set on something staying that way forever, and if you don't want it to break, then it would make sense to kind of, I guess, glue it together. But for most of us builders, Lego sticks to each other, so there's no need to glue it together. And then on top of that, if you have to transport your model, sometimes we have to transport very large models to conventions, and in terms of storage, it doesn't make sense to glue stuff together because you might need to take it apart in order to reassemble it when you get there at the convention. So I hope that answers your questions.
Yeah, that's cool. It tells me a lot about how you use the medium, which tells me a lot about, because there is an actual art to it.
There is.
And Tina, I don't know if you were going for it, but if you were going to ask the most controversial question about Lego,
give it to me.
Are
that was it?
you putting in alternate medium, etc.? Because a lot of times that's taboo, and there's a lot of guys that go to brick shows that do their own things because Lego doesn't conform to have that color or
Right.
X number of piece, so they just kind of do their own thing, which is why the Lego movie, the first one, was so good, because it had the Craggle, the crazy glue, it had the Orb of Titulus and all these other non-Lego things that clearly interact.
Of course,
Yeah.
Vitruvius's staff, which was a chewed up lollipop.
So and that's one of those transitions between the kids zone and not the kids zone. And to that end, this is where I was being ornery on the first group of this. I was like, ooh, should I bring a Kobe set?
Yeah, I did.
And
one of them.
Kobe is a different building block thing. It is clearly not Lego, and that's one of the reasons why people have such a high resolve for Lego, because it fits together so well. And up until very, very recently, with the patent expiring, all of the other knockoffs are awful. There's a reason that you only see Mega Blocks in the thrift stores, and very, very rarely Lego of all its forms. Even Duplo is exceptional, and Duplo is allowed in the big builds. Like that's one of those that we will totally do because it fits. It's part of the system.
It fits, and Duplo is made by
Yeah.
Lego. I've seen some situations where people will use books or packaging from Lego products as part of their build, and they say it's still Lego.
Yeah.
And that's the way they get away with it, is because the Lego made the brand regardless of what the product is, if it's a building block or not.
Okay. Yeah, I got in the reason I asked that question is I got in trouble when I was in grad school. One of my professors was developing Lego Robotics at MIT, and so we had classes back and forth between the two universities, and she asked us to make sculptures out of the Lego Robotics and to write a story and do a presentation. Well, I'm a sculpture artist, a multimedia, I'm a junk artist. So I grabbed all the things that made it do what I wanted it to do, and I wrote a poem, and I made art, and I actually covered up all the Legos.
I'm cringing. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's taboo.
Well,
Yeah.
but I didn't know. And she said I was the only one that had ever done that. She wasn't upset, but she was the one developing the software, and so she wasn't immersed in the culture so much as she was helping to create the system to teach. She was in child development to teach a certain set of skills to children. So she was invested in a different way. But I was surprised because I was asked to make a sculpture.
Yeah.
I did what I do and made a sculpture, but it was completely
Well, and I think
covered.
a lot of that goes on into the innate value of Lego itself. That you see something like this, and the pieces they're not cheap anymore, and they're just going up and up and up because people hoard them.
10 cents a piece, pretty much.
Well, and Lego officially raised its prices last year, the year before, and that was the first time that they've done it since the 80s. But they still tried to keep to that rubric, which says a lot for the company. But again, it's interesting on what it is that people, they're covetous of it. Like I did something bad when it came in. It was like, oh, this was out of alignment, and I touched his bricks. Oh my gosh! And that's
Got to give me a heads up next time.
yeah, no, and again that's something that I realized I was doing, and that's why it's great to see the kids here playing, because you can play multiplayer, you can do these things, but man, when it comes to MOCs, that's
okay. What's MOC?
My own creation.
Okay, I like it.
We can call them also MOCs.
We should have a thing for my own creation Legos.
Yeah, and some people actually sell them.
They do.
Oh, okay.
As
art.
Business on it,
Yeah.
because it is art.
Because of what I'm hearing from your creation, it is, as an artist, I'm hearing that was art.
Yes.
You designed it, you used your materials to solve problems, and the passion for the material as an artist, I understand.
He could go ahead and sell the plans to build the gazebo.
Okay.
for other people, or he can distribute them freely. It's his decision. But that's part of the community, is like you have that ability to like, hey, you want to build this yourself? Here you go. Because part of the fun is building it, even though you're not creating it.
So that's kind of where the community comes in, because I know was important to you to kind of make official, right? So
Yeah.
there's some importance to being a community of Lego users or artists.
Well, I didn't know anybody else really in town that did it. And I
Oh,
was
okay.
like, let's just start this and see what happens.
It's interesting to me that it's social like this. It's cool.
Well, something to tie into it too, that's relatively recent to the whole scenario as well, is that Lego is moving to Virginia. And that's a big thing. Lego's America is moving to Virginia.
That's right. Lego's
yeah.
America's moving to
Yeah.
Virginia. Lego HQ is still in Denmark.
Yeah.
It's always going to be in Denmark.
But they're abandoning Connecticut for here, and that's
Yeah.
a big
Big
deal.
deal.
Oh yeah,
What is your name?
Evan.
Evan? So just say your
Lewie.
name. I know.
Lewie.
I know your names. I'm just recording them. Mr. Bret from Play Favorites. Is it okay to be on camera?
Sure.
Why do you-
Millicent. Kathy.
Theo?
Sawyer and Oliver.
Sawyer and Oliver. Why do you guys like Legos?
Because I like to build them.
Because you like to build them.
I don't know how many you have to make of these things.
Why do you two like Legos? I won't bite, I promise. I already bit one
Because-
person today.
Because it's something that we can all do together, right? We have
Okay,
a lot of fun doing it together.
I love that. So it's a family activity.
Absolutely.
Cool. What are you building, honey?
I'm trying to get this apart because I need to make one more of these.
Okay, so you're following the directions on the box. You're looking at the, oh, I see. See, Miss Tina doesn't know a lot about Legos. Although every moving box, every time I move, I end up with Legos
All right, so
in a box
so
randomly.
we talked about how.
And I think it's from, having my brothers live with me at different points of time.
And
So I want to see a girl's Lego.
So now you're on the second most controversial thing that has ever been done, are the Lego Friends sets. So Lego has always been unisex for everything else like that. Hey, you're building a bunny. Hey, you're building a car. There doesn't need to be anything on that, and they've always advertised
Yeah, it's
it
for
as
everyone.
such.
but
But
from like adventure.
just recently, like the last 10 years or so, they created the Friends line. And the Friends line, rather than having mini figures, they created mini dolls. Now, I'll let others get into all of the
you don't
wherewithal
have
as
to.
to why you need girl Lego versus default boy Lego, I guess. But the mini dolls, the wrists don't twist on them, and the mini dolls aren't as good. The rest of the sets are incredible. But the interesting thing about the Lego Friends sets, and I'll let you guys correct me if I'm wrong on the economics of it, but what's keeping the Lego Friends sets alive are adult fans of Lego, because they come in so many good colors.
That's
And
why I kept buying them, because
Yeah.
the colors are different.
And to the asterisk on that, along with having good colors, they also are the first ones to get discounted at Walmart and other places because the target demographic is not buying them. So cool. If anybody can get a 50% off Lego set, that's a win. And they're great sets. All of the Friends sets are amazing. It's just they're a lot easier to get a hold of for grown-ups as anything else. Which that's a whole other subject. I always feel guilty buying something 50% off because I want somebody like these guys who'd be like, that's a miracle seeing Lego 50% off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's an interesting subject that I'm not going to broach right now. But you know, the toy aisle. I used to teach women's studies, so
Yeah.
the toy aisle subject is the blue and pink subject is very interesting. But I'm not going to talk about that during
Well,
your
you'll
Lego.
find me in the blue and pink section of Lego looking for pieces.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
So I look at Lego sets, I'm looking at the pieces, not the sets.
that's a good point in terms of. I mean, is it even useful to market to gender specific anymore? It's.
Well,
I
I
don't
look
think
at
people buy into it the same way that they used to.
I look at that as like a parent may not know what their kid might like, and they're like, well, she's a girl, maybe there's a better chance that she'll like a girl-related product. But you know, there's girls who like dinosaurs or cowboys or cars.
I hated dolls.
Yeah.
I mostly played with things I found in the creek, animals.
One thing though is that before Friends was released, for a long time, Lego was really skewed towards boys.
Yeah, and
Like-
that's problematic.
Like,
Yeah.
and you know, yes, they were always making normal tubs of bricks that were genderless, but a lot of the stuff was a lot of cops and robbers and Star Wars, and not saying that girls don't like Star
Traditionally,
Wars. They do,
thematically.
but there was a lot
For
of
marketing,
stuff, there was
yeah.
a lot of stuff that they were making that was mostly masculine, that kind of was geared towards masculinity, and then you know, Friends was kind of got that other market. Friends was stuff that's not about violence, that's not about big vehicles, it's not about masculine things. You know, stuff about like hanging out and being friends and doing, you know, and Friends has kind of diversified a lot as well. You know, it used to be things that were considered stereotypically feminine, but a lot of the stuff at that time, you know, was stereotypically masculine. So, but now there's things like Friends has like racing and camping, bed and breakfasts, restaurants, and to be fair, Friends was starting to have a lot of stuff that you really wouldn't find in the Lego City line. The Lego City line for the longest time was full of you know, firemen and fire trucks and cops and robbers. And I remember like almost every year it was kind of the same thing: cops and robbers, or construction or fire, but no buildings in the city, no pizza places, no I guess boutique shops, no cafes,
That got eaten
no.
up by the adult lines too.
That did,
So
but then
that's a whole other
Right.
catering to the adult
right.
crowd.
But now I've noticed that recently, the Lego City line has become a lot more like Friends. Lego City line is starting to include stuff that's kind of more, I guess you could say, neutral or more feminine, like things like schools, ice cream shops, bakeries, you know, things like that, things that aren't, you know, cops and robbers and all that.
Or
And
less
so-
gender specific.
Exactly.
Well,
Uh-huh.
to the
Exactly.
same end though, the most successful, and I mean the most successful of all of the Friends lines was the Elves line, which was fantasy, hack and slash, dragons,
Okay.
everything else like that. Now, who the ultimate purchasers of those
That would be
were,
me. I would like that.
Yeah, again, I don't know how the buyer ended up on it, but they had their own cartoon show, which was good. Those sets were all amazing because it's not often that Lego puts out animal pieces, so I'm always buying the animal pieces.
Yeah.
But those were the ones too. I'm like, cool, half price on all of that. I'm gonna buy the whole set, and I was excited about it.
Their pieces they put out are limited edition.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you might want to get a set just for a special piece that they're not going to put in another set. And that's why the sets go up in value once they go out of print, because people either want that set or they want pieces in that set that are hard to find.
Cool.
But the other thing Lego did, they at first they had Women of Science, which was a hard set to get, which was like a lot of women with NASA.
I would like that. Yeah.
I just sold one of them at my store.
I would have loved to know about that.
I have an extra copy. That was one of the ones that I picked up at the thrift store, no less, as well.
All right,
Again,
I'll drop
finding
by.
Lego at the thrift store is impossible. But
I
that's funny.
go to Goodwill.com and I buy it in bulk. But then I'm like sorting it, washing it. There's a whole process.
Oh, I
It's-
bet that's a lot of work.
hours and hours
Kids'
long.
toys are disgusting to wash.
Yeah.
I used to
Well-
run preschools and day camps and stuff. Oh my goodness.
All the stuff thrown in there, you don't want to be around it.
Yeah, I mean,
But Lego also introduced the dots. which is like jewelry. Oh yeah,
Oh, cute.
jewelry, stationery. I picked up a lot of the letters, the alphabet, so I could start spelling things out with Lego. And the cool thing
See, I would like that. That's
thing about
fun.
dots is they have a lot of flat stud tiles that are round and have different designs printed on them.
Oh.
And that's usually what I'm after is all the printed designs. I don't like stickers, but I do like printed designs.
So there's specialty in that way, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and there's like Mickey Mouse sets and all kinds of themes that they have.
I like the animal ones are cute. Like Bret likes the animal. I like the animal ones too, and the flower ones, the botanical.
People make zoos just full of Lego animals.
That's cool. And my friend Angie, she helped me with something, and I got her the Easter set 2 years ago when she helped me with an event, an Easter event, and they're so cute. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.